CBS News senior national security analyst Fran Townsend is a former Homeland Security advisor to President George W. Bush. Fran, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you make of this latest development now in Berlin that the man they had in custody, who they thought was a suspect, may now not be involved?
You know, I think it's important that we remind viewers this is not an isolated incident. What we saw the threat warning from the State Department. We've seen an increase in security in Brussels, in London, in Paris. And so this comes on the heels of just last week in a Christmas market in southwest Germany. A 12-year-old boy planted a nail bomb. There's been a history, just this year of these sorts of attacks. This is reminiscent, regrettably, of the Nice attack. But Germany, since they've had these refugees come in, has seen an increase over the last year. A 17-year-old Afghan girl with an axe attack on a train, a 27-year-old Syrian with a backpack bomb in Germany, all this year. And so I think it's going to put enormous pressure on the Merkel government to get to the bottom of this. We understand from investigators that just this morning at an airport refugee camp, they did some searches in an effort to further the investigation.
Mm-hmm. Fran, in terms of lone wolf attacks, those in and of themselves would seem hard to prevent. But lone wolf attacks where the weapon is a common item, like a vehicle, how difficult is this for security services?
Well, it's near impossible, right? So you're not focused on sort of disrupting it via finding the weapon or taking the weapon away from the individual. You focus your intelligence efforts on identifying the individuals. But as you point out, where it's a lone wolf, there are very few indicators. And so, as investigators say, the flash to bang from the moment the individual decides until they commit the attack is very short. Look at the Germany Christmas market. We believe from investigators he stole the lorry, killed the driver, and then just used the truck to plow it into this Christmas market. That very short window is near impossible for investigators to get in the middle of.
What's always fascinating to me is the intelligence, right? Mm-hmm. So the State Department last month issues a warning about potential attacks at Christmas-related events. Does this suggest that there could be an uptick of this in many different places? I
think that's right, Nora. Look at that very threat warning you referred to. It's clear that there's some intelligence driving the State Department's warning, that particularly in Europe during this Christmas period. And so we ought to remind people as they travel for the holidays, and these Christmas markets are quite beautiful and they're a real tourist attraction, to be very careful about their surroundings, to understand where they are, where would you exit. If you had to leave in a hurry, where would you meet your other, those travelers that you're with?
What about here at home?
You know, we had John Miller on this morning. We're not hearing that there's specific intelligence here in the United States. But as always, you know, it seems we have this conversation in a post 9/11 world every holiday season where there are large public gatherings. It's a particular vulnerability.
What do cities do, Fran?
You know, look at New York. At New Year's Eve, they have the most extraordinary perimeter security where there are layers upon layers. And each one of those layers, as revelers enter, is another opportunity for law enforcement to disrupt an attack. Mm-hmm.
So for citizens, it's be vigilant this holiday season.
Exactly right.
Fran Townsend, always good to see you. Thank you so much.